Hello YouTube, and welcome once again. This is Weston, Weston's Toys and Collectibles, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron Trilogy Deluxe Class Trailbreaker. And this is a nice figure. This is definitely a retool of the Earthrise hoist figure we got in the first wave of this series, but they've changed quite a bit and made this his own character based on the original G1 toy. Here is the nice artwork of Trailbreaker here on the side of the package in a really cool running action pose. I see like blasts coming by. I can imagine him having his force field up, running into battle, getting ready to take on some Decepticons. On the other side we have this nice Earthrise artwork here that we've seen on all the Earthrise packaging. And actually, if you look here, you can actually see the Generations, the Thrilling 30 design for Trailbreaker, which is hilarious that that design was put on this packaging when this is clearly the design that they were going to use. That being said, that figure was more of a Cybertronian truck design, so I can definitely see them using that as like a siege version, transforming and turning into this version of the character when he reaches Earth. Here on the back we have some nice product shots of Trailbreaker in his truck mode and his robot mode. He transforms in 18 steps, so I think that is maybe 1 or 2 more steps than Hoist had. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the toy. Now he comes packaged in robot mode, but I always transform, I usually try to start from the vehicle mode and go into robot mode. So here he is in his truck mode, and he almost feels like he's heavier, like he's more compact or something than Hoist did. Let's see. I think these are supposed to be turned technically. He's supposed to turn his wrists. Go ahead and do that. No, that's a knuckle drag. So I know like these are supposed to be turned a certain way, but like nothing seems to actually work with this mold, with how the hands are oriented. They do seem to still drag a little bit on the bottom. Sorry, knocked the camera on the bottom surface. I think that works the best. He rolls very nicely. Not as well as Sunstreaker did. If you watch a Sunstreaker review, you saw that he didn't roll quite as nicely as this doesn't roll quite as nicely as Sunstreaker. He was rolling back and forth like really nicely. Taking a look underneath, it's basically the same look as Hoist had, just the legs here, the arms here, the inside of the chest. A little bit of it is remolded. Let me bring in Hoist real quick so I can show like this whole crotch, waist assembly, hip assembly is completely remolded. Brand new pieces for that. I feel like the arms are exactly the same, and other than that I think everything else is pretty much exactly the same in vehicle mode, other than this back portion, which has been changed. This piece, this gray piece here, has been remolded from the Hoist figure, and in this configuration without the canopy on top, you can flip these weapons out and kind of have like his attack, like an attack mode. But otherwise you fold those in there, and he does come with these 2 accessories. He comes with the pop top like canopy for the truck mode, which looks pretty cool. It's just a solid piece of plastic, and it attaches via this rail here, this little like slit slot here, and this tab here. And it goes on pretty securely. Tabs on, it locks into place. It's not easy to get open from vehicle mode. And on the back, it looks pretty clean there. He does have painted taillights, which is nice to see. As for this piece, you can either store it on top of the vehicle using this 5mm port, or because it's not that awkward round shape of the one Hoist has, you can actually plug it into his arm under here, and it fits in there perfect. It fits, if I can get that tabbed into the correct slot. Yeah, it fits in there like so, and it doesn't get in the way of anything, and that makes it look like he has like a gun sticking out the front of the truck, which isn't terrible. I definitely wish there was better storage for that in vehicle mode rather than, you know, under here or on top, especially since with the Centurion weapons pack we got this piece. Now this is his satellite dish, radar dish, that he used in one episode of the G1 cartoon, and that can plug right into the top to recreate that scene. And due to it being a 5mm port, it can rotate. And I think that looks pretty cool. Now here's a size comparison. Here is the earthrise Datsun mold, the Blue Streak figure, Walgreens exclusive Blue Streak, compared to this new earthrise trailbreaker. You see, trailbreaker is quite a bit taller, but from the very front bumper back, Blue Streak has a good ½ inch or better of length compared to the trailbreaker figure. So pulling Blue Streak off to the side once again, we can go ahead and transform this figure from his truck mode to his robot mode. And if you've seen the Hoist review, you've seen this transformation before. Other than a couple small steps which will be incorporated back here in the backpack. So to start, you want to kind of pull the arms down a little bit so you can lift the hood. Now kind of unlock these side panels partially. Then you can kind of pull this away so it untabs from the legs as well as from the side panels. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull the arms out on these panels and rotate them, rotate the hand properly, and then bring this down along that section. Same thing on the other side. Rotate the arm, rotate the wrist, and bring it all the way down. Alright, once you've done that, you can actually now pull this piece, or pull this assembly down with his legs, and unfold his legs at that hinge there, the transformation hinge. The knee proper here is right here, and then this is a transformation hinge. Now this doesn't tab in quite as well as it did on Hoist. His actually locked in fairly securely. On this guy, there is a bit of mold degradation which causes it to not tab in securely on here. And to show you real quick, I'll actually bring in Hoist. You can see that bends. This tabs in securely for the most part, so that knee bends. When I try and do that on here, that knee bends first. I have to kind of put some pressure on it to get that proper knee to bend. I can add a little bit of some kind of thickening agent in there, whether it be like floor polish or super glue, which is the more dangerous method, but it's the method I normally use. Anywho, go ahead and bring the hood assembly down and then lock all this in place by pulling the waist so it's perpendicular to the stem here. You're going to pull this backpack assembly out, bring his arms down to kind of get out of the way, and then come under here and you'll pull his head up and kind of loop it through there and lock it into place. And then now we can bring it up at this hinge here. Now this is kind of a like, this was an issue with my hoist figure. One of these actually cracked. It's still attached, but it cracked, so one side isn't completely attached on my hoist figure. I'll actually show that real quick here. It's this piece here, and if I pull it, you can see how it moves right there, that piece right here. If I pull and kind of rotate, you can see how it moved out to the side. It's actually cracked at the base, so I plan on fixing that at some point in the near future, but as for now, like, it holds decently. It's not a big issue for me right now, but do be wary of that with this figure as well. I'm not sure if this black plastic will handle that tolerance as the same. Actually, no, it's the clear plastic again. That's why it cracked easily. So it's clear plastic that's painted, and that's what causes that issue. But anyway, you're gonna bring this up at that hinge. And that's another thing. This joint here, it's not technically supposed to move at this axis here. Like, this is supposed to lock it together, and it's not really. It's more of the mold degradation, I believe, that causing that. There, I gotta clip back into place. And then you want to bring it down at the top hinge, lock it into place. And then you can open this up. Now you can use this as a shield. I prefer not to, but just to show that real quick, you just pull it off and like attach it to his arm, and it's a shield. I prefer to just leave it on his back. That's where it's supposed to be. That's where it stayed in the vehicle mode, or in the cartoon and stuff too, so it's kind of there on his back. This doesn't hold together as well as on hoist either. Like, this tab is not nearly as secure. Anyway, just pull these two out and flip this back up. And there he is in his robot mode. Pretty cool. You don't have to have these parts up here like this, but for cartoon accuracy, for character accuracy, you would want them up. Then for his little hand gun thing, that just kind of slips over this hand. He always had it on his left hand, whereas Hoist always had his on the right side. So for comparison here, he is with Hoist, his mold mate, and they look good. They look really good. I don't know if it's just like the sea of black here, but he actually feels like he's thicker than Hoist is. I'm not sure if it's just that sea of black, no color breakup there, because he has like the green and then he has the orange here on the back. He is black, 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 and even his head's black in comparison with his body, rather than, you know, his is black in comparison to green. So I don't know what's causing that illusion to me, but it's definitely something I'm seeing. Anyway, he can also hold his, you know, radar dish if you need him to, or if you want him to. It's pretty cool. Articulation's exactly the same as on Hoist. So he's got, you know, the ball joint at the head, as well as the hinged panel it's on to give you a little bit more if you need it. You can look up a little bit, look down a little bit. Can't really get too much side to side. Rotates 100 or 360 degrees. These can kind of rotate back and forth. Arms swivel all the way around, but due to this panel, they kind of bang up against the backpack. I kind of wish they would have put like a folding hinge here on this guy at least, because he didn't have the panels behind his arms in the animation. Like he had the panels behind his arms, but Trailbreaker did not have the panels behind his arms in the animation. So it would have been nice if they would have had like a folding panel here, so that, you know, this folded to half its size. You know, it would just be a hinge right here, and you could actually put it along like this seam here, so it wouldn't be too garish. Anywho, let's see, where were we? Oh, so this can go up all the way for his outward shoulder motion. So it kind of works as a universal, but like if the universal joint was like inside out, I guess. Rotation here. The panel kind of catches the rotation a bit, because you're kind of having a square rolling against a flat panel, especially with the words here inscribed on here. He has well over 90 degrees of elbow bend. That's close to maybe gosh, about 140, 150 degrees of bend, maybe 160 degrees of bend. Pretty good. He has rotation at the wrist as well. I'll show it on this side, since the other side has his blaster on it. And like this side, you can, if you want, just kind of put the blaster sideways as well. That's pretty cool. Waist swivel. Nicely done. Waist swivel. The joints in the waist assembly on this figure are looser than they are on him, and I don't understand exactly why, because there's pieces in here that are been remolded. Like I said, just put a little bit of, I could just put a little bit of like something to thicken up the joints a little bit, just to help that out a little bit. Swivel here, and it feels like it's molded kind of wrong. Like it looks like there might be some mold flashing right here actually, and that's why it's catching on, because it like catches at some point in the rotation. This is knee bend, and if you need it, the other knee bend, so you get all the way back behind his back. And then the ankle tilt goes to about there. Not bad. So once again, here he is with hoist. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a few other Autobots. Here he is with his Wavemate Sunstreaker. And here he is with the leader of the Autobots, Optimus Prime. So you can see how he compares to the typical car-sized deluxe and then the Voyager class figures. So he's like an in-between scale compared to deluxe and Voyager. So that's pretty cool. I do like how they're doing the trucks and the vans a little bit bigger than the cars. I think that works really well. He's not quite as big as the Decepticons, but you know, he's definitely bigger than the Autobot cars for the most part. And I think that works. So this has been my review of the Transformers Earthrise Trailbreaker. I got him as well as Sunstreaker from Big Bad Toy Store. But if you want to go to find these guys online, there's also eBay, Amazon, TF Source, several other websites that carry Transformers. Do be wary of pricing. The MSRP for these figures is approximately $18.99 American. Typically, they will be running about that price in your retail stores such as Walmart, Target, Meijer, and if you go to Big Bad Toy Store, they are right now at $21.99 plus shipping. So depending on how much you want to spend, if you want to look around at the stores where these guys are starting to slowly work their way into the stores, or you can just order them online. That way you can make sure that you are able to find them. So this has been my review again of the Transformers Earthrise Deluxe Class Trailbreaker, and until next time, till all are one.